If you could be known for only one thing, what would it be?
That's a great question. Breaking glass ceilings.
Okay. All right. What's the greatest lesson in leadership you've learned as an entrepreneur?
The greatest lesson I've learned in leadership, I would say very much so is, and this is kind of risky to say it almost, but it is actually to lead with passion. It's to put your heart into it.
What personal characteristic has been most pivotal to your success?
It's funny. I was expelled from private Christian school when I was in fifth grade, and they sent home a letter to my parents saying that I displayed a spirit of rebellion and I was not invited back. But time and time again, I think that that spirit of rebellion was really more the entrepreneurial spirit. It was the willingness to see things the way they are, but then be able to actually see beyond them and how you can move them and shape them in new ways and in new places. And I think that that actually has turned out to serve me very well again and again and again throughout the course of my career and even my private life. It's not being afraid to kind of move past the status quo and create better.
I know a lot of rebel capitalists, Jeanette. I'm proud to know you as well. So I've got to ask at least one out of left field question. So I've got my random question cards here. Just tell me when to stop cutting the deck.
All right, stop.
What would you most like to learn how to do on a computer?
Oh, on a computer. I'd like to learn how to actually build one, like physically, mechanically.
All right, you like those gamers? Come out with some really fancy thing that has.
I think that'd be fun. Yeah, I would be down for that challenge.
Name a book that's helped to forge you as a leader and as an entrepreneur, and why?
I actually really like The Secrets of the Millionaire Mindset. There was one particular paragraph that has resonated with me for a long time that helped me to really understand the difference between a limited mindset and a growth mindset. And it was talking about, in the game of money. And basically the quote is actually up on my whiteboard here, says basically a limited mindset plays not to lose and a growth mindset plays to win. And it's really the difference between having the courage to either, play offense or play defense. So, if you're, coming into a significant, capital event and you have a huge return, what are you going to do with that money? There's part of me that's like, I just want to save it because I like to know it's here and I just want to put it right there. It makes me feel better, but the reality is that if your money isn't making money, then you're really not managing your money very efficiently. And so, it's learning to shift your mind and recognize, that yes, there's some risk associated with the things that you're doing with your finances, but in order to achieve all of the reasons behind you care about whatever that amount of money is, you need to have the courage, to shift your mindset and move from being, in a defensive stance to offensive stance. And I think that that can apply, across the board to a lot of things way beyond money.
Could you describe a failure or misstep and what it taught you?
Ooh, yeah, actually I can. And this is kind of leaning into my own professional background. So I was part of a startup company for about 3.5 years before I actually ended up partnering with Ellie down the road later and coming to work for her. And it was great. I loved it. And we actually had the strangest of challenges. So there was myself and 2 other business partners that did this. And ultimately, I hate to say it, but one of the partners turned out definitely not to be who we thought he was. And we actually were a technology-based company. So he literally kind of disappeared literally overnight with like all of our coding. We did not have, we didn't have some of the right records in place as far as like, we actually had an app that like at the time was on the iTunes, but only his name was on it because we had never really gotten around to kind of putting all of our names on it, little things like that. So, I would say one of the most powerful lessons that I've learned is to be extremely careful with the partnerships that you establish with people. And always follow, the process, always follow the process of doing things. It's very easy to get into a partnership and everything seems great. And so you just don't write that down. You just don't bother to sign those docs, be very careful who you trust and be very careful who you align yourself with.
That's great. And I feel like we could do a whole show just on startups
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not what we were here to do today. Usually I ask to send us out with a quote, but I think that your last quote, that the limited mindset plays not to not lose and the growth mindset plays to win. I think that's got to be the quotes of the evening. And I'll just ask you one more question. Actually, here, I'll just show this. I want to say, I think it's just amazing how you stage your places. I got this off of YouTube. So if you're watching the video version, you can see a very nicely staged apartment, you and Ellie walking through it. So great work there.
Actually,
That's
our
one of the things that makes a
property.
big difference when you have big apartments as opposed to small ones. Talk about scaling. You can afford to do things like stage it, and it makes a huge difference. So just as we wind up, how do we reach Jeannette Robinson and Blue Lake Capital?
Oh, very easy. So feel free to email me. My email is Jeanette. It's JeAnnette at bluelake-capital.com.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with our audience, Jeanette.
Yeah, thank you, George. I appreciate you having me.